Books make you hope. Books make you dream. Books make you laugh. Books make you scream. This is the Books That Make You show, discussing books with authors and experts, unraveling the inner pages of all the books that help make us who we are. Hosted by Desiree Duffy.
Welcome to Books That Make You. We're talking about books that make your children love to read. Children's books. Let's face it, nothing brings back more memories than recalling the books we read or the ones that were read to us when we were children. Do you remember the little golden books? Dr. Seuss? What were some of your favorites? Probably the ones that were read to you as you were being tucked into bed, right? Teaching children to read and helping their imaginations just flourish by instilling in them a love for books is, in my opinion, one of the greatest gifts that we can give to them. And that's why today we're talking to not one, but two authors of children's books, Sheri Fink and Derek Taylor Kent. They are actually a married couple, and their books are just an amazing assortment that children absolutely love to read, and we're going to find out why. We have the incredible bilingual Doggy Claus, which I am just absolutely in love with. It's written in both English and in Spanish. As well, Sheri has her recent The Little Unicorn, and just there's so many others. We're going to talk about them all. Right now, Sheri and Derek, I want to welcome you guys to the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Me too.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have you. This is really fun. I mean, we've known each other for a while. We've rubbed shoulders at a lot of bookish type events. So thank you for being on today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, we're honored.
So let's start out by, can you just give us your ideas, your opinions? Why is it so important to read to children and to encourage them to read?
I think from my perspective, the most important thing beyond just the actual reading comprehension is really the emotional connection that you form with the child when you spend that time, as you mentioned earlier, at bedtime, and you bond together over a story. And books are great because they give kids a window into the world so that they can develop empathy by seeing what characters go through and experiencing it in a safe way, indirectly, to formulate ideas and opinions and thoughts about the world and where they fit in it. So I think for me, the most valuable part is that bonding that it creates between the parent and the child.
I think it's important also because it shows just that reading is something that's important and valuable and to be treasured. When you read to your kids, it shows you're spending your time together. We could be doing absolutely anything, but you're choosing to read a book together. So I think that shows them that books are it's one of the most important parts of life and growing up, and a teaching tool that will always be used.
Yeah. And the thing, too, I remember those stories. If I open up a little golden book, it just brings those memories back. So it seems to me like it's just such a powerful thing that's going to resonate for them for their entire lives.
Hopefully. That's our goal.
It's true. I remember all the books I read as a kid way better than all the books I read in high school. I see them on the shelves still, and I could tell you exactly what happened in the story and the characters,
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know if it's something with our memories as we get older. We don't quite, we get the gist of it, but you're right. Those stories we read as children, they just are so powerful. And how does that make you guys feel, knowing that you are writing words, telling stories that children are going to have with them forever?
It's amazing. We were just doing a school visit yesterday, and there was a first grade boy who at the end of the talk, he raised his hand and he asked, "How does it feel?" And I got a little bit teary-eyed, and I said, "Do you mean how does it feel to be an author?" And he's like, yes. And all the kids, like, there's over 100 of them, they just like waited for the answer. And I thought about it for a second, and I said, it's like every day is your birthday, and you are the one who gets to give the gifts. And the kids were like, oh.
That's amazing. That's so powerful. I love that. And that little boy, you know what, Sheri? He's probably going to be a writer someday.
I have a feeling that was a very powerful question. And the way he asked it with such enthusiasm and anticipation, he's definitely an artist.
Yes.
That's so cool. I mean, we have a lot of authors on the show, obviously, but I don't think any of the other authors can say that they're going to have that kind of impact because, again, when you're writing to an adult audience, it just doesn't necessarily have that punch to it. So tell me, what tips or advice do you have for parents or any adults, aunts, uncles, grandparents, when reading to get their child excited about reading?
My biggest advice to them is to find books that suit their interests rather than to push books on them that you think they should be reading. I think it's great to let kids go to a bookstore and look through all the different books and look at the book covers and have that be their choice. It's something that comes from them. I think that makes it very personal and will make them want to read it a lot more. Like, I had a lot of books kind of foisted on me as a kid that were way above my reading level at the time, of books that adults thought I should be reading, and that actually put a really bad taste in my mouth for a long time about reading. I didn't think it was fun. I thought it was something that was serious and with things I didn't understand and characters I didn't care about. But when I actually had the chance to discover books that made me laugh, and I realized that books could be funny and made more for me and things I liked, then I started to understand and started to love reading. So I think letting them choose their own books, and also finding, if you want to find them books, like find out what they're interested in. If they're into sports, you can go out and get them a good sports book. If they're into dragons and princesses and fairies, there's plenty of books that could find that they would fall in love with.
Yeah. And I think, too, you have to make it fun. Like, when you're reading together, like, try not to read in a monotone, bored voice, because that's going to carry through to the child. I think you have to make it fun and, like, get into it and be enthusiastic and do different voices for the different characters. And I know for me, like, I was an early reader, but I was very reluctant to pick books up because I didn't find things that I loved, like Derek said. And it wasn't until I was in third grade and I had a teacher that assigned book reports with every reading. And the thing about the book reports is that it was really an art project. And for whatever reason, that made me very excited to read. Suddenly, I was reading tons of things because I wanted to pick the perfect book to do the art project on. And I picked up all the details, and I could get up in front of the class, and I was super shy. So, like, that was a big deal for me to be able to get up and talk about the book and show my art project. And I'm still in touch with that teacher because he had such a great impact on me. And I think teachers can obviously do things like that, but parents too. You can make little reward systems for kids reading books that are, just a little bit of a stretch beyond their comfort level, but still something that's interesting to them. You got to make it fun and rewarding.
And I think that's important too. Even as adults, sometimes I'll meet people who swear that they don't like sci-fi and fantasy, and then they read a sci-fi fantasy book. So it's all a matter of trying out and experimenting. And, it's the same thing when we're young. So let the child kind of explore and give them suggestions. But I love your point, Derek, about not forcing anything on them, because that can leave a really bad taste in their mouth. I must admit, Doggy Claus is just adorable. Let's talk about that. And I especially dig the way you made it bilingual. Can you just talk about why you wrote it and the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, so it's a Doggy Claus, or Perro Noel. In Spanish, it has both titles. I had written a previous bilingual book called El Perro con Sombrero, which was one of my first big book deals, my first book that ever got a bidding war between several publishers. And I was inspired to write that because I was visiting dual immersion schools a lot when I was visiting schools for my Scary School series, my middle grade series. And I would visit these schools and I was surprised. I didn't know there were so many schools that taught actively both English and Spanish. And all of them told me, it's so great, like, do the books come in Spanish? I'm like, no, sorry. They're like, and I found out there was a huge shortage of books that were written in both languages, which they needed for their curriculums. So I decided to write that first book, which is I was inspired by my own dog at the time, Xander, who's now our dog. I guess I built in this really great, became one of my biggest hits. So I decided I wanted to write like another bilingual doggy book, and I was inspired by the Christmas themes. I realized, I looked it up, and there were no bilingual holiday books, like literally none. So I wanted to have a bilingual book that kids and families could read together on Christmas time. And Christmas also had a special meaning to me because I was actually born on Christmas.
Oh, my.
So I've experienced a lot of emotional, it's always an emotional day for me. So it was a big emotional day for the characters in the book as well.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay, let me take a step back because you both are so prolific. You have so many books. And I've touched on Doggy Claus and the Little Unicorn, and I know you have I'm not even going to get the name right, the flower book. Go ahead, you guys. Go ahead and list off your books because I want you guys to tell us about them.
Okay, sure. So my first book was The Little Rose, which it was super special to me because it was #1 on Amazon for over 60 weeks. Wow. And it was the thing that made me believe that I could actually do this for a living. And that one's about a rose that grows up in a weed bed, and because she's different, thinks that she's a weed. And so it's about being authentic and choosing friends who appreciate you for who you are. Then I came out with A Little Gnome, and that book is about looking for the good in every season and every situation. So it helps kids become more adaptable to change. And then The Little Firefly helps kids realize that we all glow when the time is right for us, about being mature and you know, not going too fast in life to be grown up. And The Little Seahorse is about being brave and speaking up and asking for help in order to achieve a goal. And that one helps kids break away from shyness and make new friends. And Exploring the Garden with the Little Rose is an alphabet adventure book through the garden with my character, the Little Rose. Then Derek and I co-wrote our first book together called Counting Sea Life with the Little Seahorse. And that's a STEM book that teaches counting 1 through 30 in a fun, rhyming way. And then I've had 2 books for grown-ups, I guess is the way I would say it. One called My Bliss Book, which is an inspirational journal. And the second one is Cake in Bed, which is a sweet and sexy romance novel. I wanted happily ever afters that weren't just super boring. And so I couldn't find what I wanted to read, so I wrote it. And then most recently, as you mentioned, The Little Unicorn, which is about a unicorn that loses her sparkle and then goes on a faraway adventure to find it, only to discover that it lives within. So it helps kids build their inner confidence.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I saw recently, too, on Facebook that you must have been visiting a school or had an event, and the little girl made you her own unicorn book. How did that make you feel?
Oh, my goodness. So we were speaking on stage. I think it was like 400 students in that particular session. And afterward, we were mobbed. They just came right up to us in the aisleways, and we were talking to them. And they're all like touching my hair. And then a teacher comes over through the sea of kids, and she says, I have someone very special I want you to meet. And she moves out of the way, and there's this tiny little girl there. She's a kindergartner. And she's so shy, but she has this beautiful book in her hands that she's made out of construction paper, and it's called The Unicorn, and it has a beautiful little illustration she did on the cover. And then it says, by Sasha at the bottom. It's so sweet. And the teacher said that Sasha had read The Little Unicorn the night before and was so inspired that she made that book and that she wanted me to have it. And so it it was a very emotional moment for me. And I just feel so lucky that not only do kids get inspired when they read our stuff, but actually, like, she created a whole book on her own.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is, I mean, to have inspired her like that, wow, Sheri, that's just got to make you feel good.
Thank you. Yeah. And Derek, like, we have signings all the time, and kids will come up who are grown now, and they'll say, oh, I loved Scary School. They see the poster for it, and I'm like, this is the author of Scary School. And they're like, oh my gosh. Like, you know, they're like late teens now, and so it's not cool to like fangirl over, you know. Yeah. But there they are, nonetheless.
That's awesome. Now, Derek, did we hit all of your titles too? All of your books?
Yeah, there's a few we didn't talk about. I have a new chapter book called Principal Mikey about a 10-year-old kid who becomes principal of his school. I also wrote my first book for grown-ups, came out recently, called Kubrick's Game. It's a puzzle adventure novel similar to Ready Player One.
Oh.
I have a space adventure called Simon in the Solar System, which is like Dr. Seuss in outer space that teaches kids about the planets and stars. A couple others. Those are the big ones.
Yeah, Scary School is the 4-book series.
Yeah, Scary School is a big 4-book series. That's what I'm most known for, is the Scary School series.
You guys, you have such great imaginations. I can see why you're a couple. That's very obvious. Where do you come up with your ideas?
You know, mine mostly come from life experiences. It's like I will have something happen. I'll have an aha moment, and I'll think, wow, what would that have been like? Like, for example, the little gnome, he's experiencing the seasons for the first time, but no one has told him what's going to happen. So when the tree, the leaves change colors and then drop to the ground, he actually thinks the tree is sick. And I thought, what would happen if a kid from the West Coast moved to the East Coast and nobody told them what was going to happen? You know, or the little firefly. Like, I loved the fireflies. I think they call them lightning bugs where I grew up in Virginia. And when I moved to California, I didn't know at first that we didn't have the light up variety here. So that was the thing I most missed from my home state. And I thought, wow, what a shame that kids who grow up here may never experience the magic of a meadow filled with fireflies at twilight. So I wrote a book about it. And I think that's really, and The Little Unicorn was actually a request from a fan a long time ago when The Little Gnome had just come out, my second book. She made a little video. She lived in Canada, and she had made a little gnome out of beeswax. It was adorable, and she was showing it to me in this video, and she was requesting new titles, and the one that she really wanted was The Little Unicorn. So now she's in college, and I was very happy to write her a note and say, I finally did it. What about you, Derek?
Remind me of the question. I got caught up.
Where do your ideas come from?
Mine is mostly my imagination. That's what always set me apart from everyone else. I thought it was my big imagination. When other kids were going out playing at lunchtime and recess, I like to stay in and finish the stories that I was working on in creative writing time. I guess I was really inspired by the things I would watch on, movies and books I would read. Like, those would definitely give me inspiration. I'd want to create something just like it. After I read Harry Potter, it inspired me to want to write my own create my own magical world that ended up becoming the Scary School series. So I get very inspired by things that I see, I think, and I guess that's why I've written so many different genres for different age groups, because I just fall in love with different things, and I get inspired to kind of explore that realm a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you both write children's books, obviously, but even within that, you're writing for different ages, different genres, and obviously the adult books too. So I can only imagine you have this massive bookshelf in your house, right?
Yes. We have several. Yes.
And it's probably packed with just all sorts of different types of books. Tell me, what are you guys reading right now? What are you into?
I'm on on this like big financial kick right now. I am reading like everything I can get my hands on. Like I just got something from the library today called The Next Millionaire Next Door. And it was actually Thomas J. Stanley wrote a very famous book called The Millionaire Next Door. I think it was in like the early 90s, late 80s. And his daughter has carried on his research, and she's written this book. I think it came out pretty recently. So I'm pretty interested in that. And then we have so many friends who are writers too. And it's really amazing. Like you said, like all different genres. Like I was thinking about my to be read stack. And not only do I have like friends' books in there, but I also mentor other authors, and I have a bunch of their books in there. And it's just so exciting to see other people's dreams come true and to get to read, their art. So I'm reading a whole lot of different children's types books, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks lately.
Oh, I love audiobooks too.
Yeah, because I realized that, I have so much kind of time, like the biggest kind of chunks of time I have are kind of when I'm at the gym or when I can actually listen. And driving in the car, we drive around so much, all these different shows. Like we just had a 7-hour drive back and forth to the Bay Area for a big event we did. And so we have a lot of time to listen to audiobooks. So I love a big audiobook kick, a lot of different books.
Yeah, we just got the new Michelle Obama book, Becoming, on audio, and can't wait to dig into that.
But I recently got back into comic books because we did so many comic book convention signings that I kind of rediscovered it and started reading some of the new comic books and graphic novels. And Sheri's mom got me a new book that's what I'm actively, the book I'm reading, that's about the history of Malibu, which is really interesting.
Oh, that is interesting. And yeah, that's another thing I wanted to talk about, because you do a lot of conventions, a lot of parties, a lot of events. Can you talk about that?
Oh, man. So one of the things that we love to do is not only just to create the books, but also to create these really whimsical live experiences. The way we like to look at it is it's magical, meaningful, and memorable. And so everything that we can do that aligns with that goal, that make kids fall in love with reading, and grown-ups too, that's what we want to do. So part of that is doing our own events and parties. Like we had world premiere parties for The Little Unicorn and for Doggy Claus, and everything was really themed toward those books. For The Little Unicorn, I was a mermaidicorn, which is a mermaid unicorn. And
I love it.
we had unicorn cupcakes and a face painter and a bubble show, and I did 2 readings and signings of the books. We had all kinds of amazing sponsors, and it was great. And then with the Doggy Claus, Santa Claus was there. We did a big cake with the book cover on it. They played Pin the Nose on Rudolph. There's just so many fun things. They made Christmas ornaments, all the kiddos. So, we just really like to make it fun and make it beyond the book, so that it touches them on an emotional level, and they're having so much fun, they're not even realizing they're learning something. And then with Comic-Con, we were both going to Comic-Con for years before we even met, and it's one of the things I love to do. And as you know, I do cosplay, and Derek does it sometimes too with me, which is super fun. And he always wanted to do Comic-Cons, but it didn't make sense as one person. But now that we have a whole company, it just makes a lot more sense. So
yeah, we do that, and it's kind of like we're doing all these big events on weekends and school visits during the week. It's so packed with connecting, going out there connecting and meeting our fans and making new fans. It can be hard to find time to write.
Sometimes, yeah, it's true. We're doing right now is our super busy season, and we're doing 3 to 5 events a week.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes more than one in a day, just depending on how the calendar, because, when schools reach out to you and they really, their kids are really excited about it, we want to try to make that work when we can. So we travel all over. We even go to Arizona for events. We went to Vegas for an event earlier this year. We just got back from the Bay Area. So it's just really amazing. What an opportunity. By the end of this year, we will have spoken to over 35,000 people.
Oh, that's incredible. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
So very full and very fun. And, it's just really great to get to do it together.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you guys, you do it with such panache, too. I've seen you. We ran into each other that one year at Comic-Con, and you have the colorful hair and the costumes like you guys are talking about. So just so everybody knows, if you want to check them out, you can go to their Facebook page and you can see pictures from the events and from the conventions and everything. It's really fun to look back on that. So tell me this. Let's go into that. Where can people find out more about each of you, your websites, find you on social media, and obviously find your books?
Well, we're at whimsicalworldbooks.com, and on social media, it's Whimsical World Books on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And then we also...
Twitter is Whimsical World.
Oh, that's right. Twitter's Whimsical World 7, because you can't have that many characters. And then my website is sherifink.com. And Instagram and Twitter, I'm at Sheri_Fink. I'm always the girl with the rainbow hair and the big smile.
And I'm at Derek Taylor Kent, D-E-R-E-K, Taylor Kent.
Fantastic. So can you give us a little peek into what's next? What do you guys got cooking in the future?
Oh, my goodness. So this year, we debuted a lot of merchandise, a lot of exclusive Whimsical World items like enamel pins that have so much glitter. Well, at least the ones from my books do. And a lot of fun things like that. And we have more of that coming in the new year. And I can tell you that the first book that we have releasing in the new year is going to be a board book for babies. And it's our first one that we've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on my character, the Little Unicorn. And it's called World of Whimsy with the Little Unicorn.
And I have a sequel to El Perro con Sombrero coming out in spring of 2019.
Ooh.
Yes. A couple other books are also in the word picture books, and I'm in the middle of writing a new chapter book series.
Yeah, so a lot of exciting things on the horizon.
That's fantastic. Now, you're in Southern California, and I know you travel a little bit for events, but if somebody wants to book you or contact you to speak at a school or an event, how does that work? How can they get in touch with you?
Oh, sure. They can contact us at info@whimsicalworldbooks.com.
And through the website, you just go to book us at whimsicalworldbooks.com, and you can see all the different events and types of visits we offer. All the info's there.
Perfect. Sheri and Derek, thank you guys so much. It has been such a pleasure having you guys on the show.
Oh, thank you. It's been so fun, as always. We always have fun when we see you.
Yes. Once again, this is Sheri and Derek, two children's authors and authors of so many different types of books. You really have to check them out. And my name is Desiree Duffy. Thank you for being with us today on Books That Make You. And you can find out more about Books That Make You on our website. It's really easy. It's booksthatmakeyou.com. And you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, enjoy all the books that make you who you are and stay positive here on MyStar95.com with music for the soul.
The executive producer for Books That Make You is Desiree Duffy. Produced and sound-mastered by Phil Giangrande. Engineering by Dave Nabox. Social media and promotion by Bree Sweeter. For more, visit booksthatmakeyou.com.